So, Carl, some of this has to do with the way the economy went in the fourth quarter.
Right.
What about the first quarter and second quarter? Michael Feroli of JP Morgan Chase saying that the impact on the economy is now going to be earlier in the new year than we expected.
Well, I think as people register those refund checks or lower amounts of tax payments, it might not happen in January, but as the first quarter wears on, I think they will start to realize the extent. And for some folks, it'll be very small, and for some folks, it'll be considerably larger. You'll start to see that influence economic activity. The Fed is looking for as much when we look at those forecast revisions from the last FOMC meeting. They knew pretty much what the spirit and tone of the tax reform package would be, and so they marked up their 2018 GDP forecasts pretty considerably. They didn't change the long-run outlook, so that means that, at least at first glance, the Fed is saying this is a sugar high, not a sustainable change in the speed limit of the U.S. economy.
Well, a lot of things sunset in a few years, right? So there is
a lot of things are sunsetting, but what doesn't sunset is a lot of the corporate provisions, which should encourage capital deepening, which would boost productivity, but the Fed didn't acknowledge that as something that would raise the speed limit in the longer run. We'll see. That could evolve later on this year.
Carl, on the inflation front, today's PCE data, is it enough to persuade the doubters both inside and outside the Fed that inflation is moving towards target?
Mark, I think this is cold comfort that the inflation soft patch of 2017 is at least not deepening, but I think that there's very little indication that it's coming to an end. So at least we know maybe the worst is over, but the turnaround or the firming back towards the target could take a lot longer than what many analysts are anticipating. I suspect that this could actually factor into the monetary policy response from the Fed next year, leading them to move more slowly than would have otherwise been the case.